broke loose, led by Ian Desmond's second career multi-homer game. Tonight, they'll need to solve one of the league's best and rely on Joe Ross to bring his best stuff. Game 2 from Los Angeles coming up next. Another beautiful night in Southern California. The Nats and the Dodgers for Game 2 at Dodger Stadium. And some folks going up the escalator, a couple in red, white, and blue. Good to see some curly W's on the road. One thing we did not want to see tonight was Bryce Harper taken out of the lineup in FP. A couple of plays in the outfield last night. The left knee bugging him. He was pulled about an hour and a half before the game.
Yeah, a couple of friends were asking me what's wrong with Bryce Harper, and I simply said Dodger Stadium is what's wrong with Bryce Harper. It seems like every time he comes here, something happens. Last night, he dove for a ball in right field, banged his knee on that one, had to get up and chase it. Watch the left knee kind of buckle underneath him. And then on another ball going toward the line, his left knee hits real hard. You remember he dove for a ball in foul territory on the dirt at Nats Park during the homestand. So that knee's been taking a beating. He's scratched tonight. And it's unfortunate because, you know, he had some strong words after the last time he faced Zach Greinke, thinking that his stuff wasn't that good and that he had a big strike zone to work with. I was looking forward to the rematch here tonight.
Yeah, I'll have to wait till another time, and who knows when that might happen. Now, good thing some of the other bats are perking along in the Nats lineup, including Ryan Zimmerman. Since he's come back, 16 hits, 11 for extra bases.
Yeah, 4 home runs since he's come off the DL, 11 RBI. The timing is perfect. Ryan Zimmerman is hot. So if Bryce Harper is going to take a day off, you think that the way Ryan Zimmerman's swinging the bat, he could definitely pick up the slack. A couple of home runs in D.C., a couple of doubles here. He's absolutely locked in, playing a great first base, and this is the bat they've missed all year long. Ryan Zimmerman can carry this team into the playoffs.
And with Bryce Harper scratched, Zimmerman bumped up to the number 3 spot in the lineup. So 14 games since coming back, the number of hits, the homers, the RBIs, and now he's one short of the all-time franchise record for consecutive games with at least 1 RBI. A little further down in the lineup, then there's Ian Desmond, breaking ball there, and he's starting to really drive the ball as well.
Yeah, a couple of taters last night here at Dodger Stadium, put his ball club up 2-0, then hit one late. So Ian Desmond, 277, 7 home runs after the All-Star break. He had 7 home runs total before the All-Star break. So Ian Desmond's hot, Ryan Zimmerman's hot, Bryce Harper out of the lineup tonight. Like I said, if any night for Bryce to miss, it's tonight because they're starting to swing the bats. The offense is starting to click, and we'll see against Greinke.
And then, of course, you're facing the Dodgers. Greinke tonight, Kershaw tomorrow night. It was crucial for the Nats to get that first game of the series last night, and now you just go after 2 of the best and try to win the series.
It was important because now you can play a little more loose tonight. You're playing with house money. You won the first game of the series. If you lose last night, all of a sudden you get a little bit tight tonight. It's Greinke, Kershaw on the horizon. That win bigger than you would think to start the West Coast trip.
Speaking of loose, rookie Joe Ross against Greinke tonight, and Joe doesn't seem to be fazed by anything. He has given up 3 earned runs or fewer in every start he has made in his major league career so far. So he's facing one of the best, but he's been one of the best young pitchers in all of baseball. More on the starters in L.A. coming up. in you. Dodger Stadium, beautiful night. Some Nats fans in the house. And we'll need all the help they and you back home can give as they take on Zach Greinke. So here's Joe Ross, first of all, for the Nats, coming off a win over the Diamondbacks. And the young man continues, Pete, to look like he's been in the big leagues for 5 years.
Yeah, the stat I can't get over is he currently possesses the highest strikeout per walk ratio through a pitcher's first career starts in the modern era, 11.75 strikeouts for every walk. So a guy that pounded his strike zone, not afraid of it. And then Zach Greinke, on the other hand, just coming off a tough outing against the Phillies last time. Gave up 5 runs in the first inning. So key tonight for the Nats, get him early.
1.71 ERA, 190 opponent's batting average, the best in baseball. So not that far from Hollywood, Chavez Ravine. It's Lakers night here, NBA and World Series trophies. How about that? In one ballpark. 2 good pitchers in one ballpark. The Nats bats are hot. Can they keep it going against Don Mattingly's Dodgers? In a moment. Keep pace. 75, it's gorgeous. 60% humidity, just some slight breezes here as we look out of this astounding setting for baseball here. Ian Desmond tied for first among Major League shortstops with homers since the All-Star break with that young guy down in Houston. And the Nats keep on rolling with the offense. So is Ian Desmond, Carlos Correa, by the way, and Brandon Crawford of the Giants. And then, of course, the red-hot Ryan Zimmerman. Bryce Harper was to be in the lineup tonight, batting third with Zimmerman behind him. But Cliff Robinson in there with Bryce unable to answer the call. Zach Greinke, 7th career start against the Nats.
Well, like I said, you got to get this guy early. He throws strike 1, and then after that he begins to dissect the strike zone, in, out, up and down, all over the place. You know, mix up the pitches. Fastball 92, slider 87, curveball 73. Last start against the Phillies, got a little tapper back to the mound, and I'm screaming because the PA is so loud here. Got a little tapper back to the mound, threw it away, and was so rattled by that because he's such a good fielder. He gave up 5 in the first.
Wow.
Settled down and became Zach Greinke after that, so that's why I'm saying the key tonight is to get him early.
Well, the Nats got early offense last night, totally dominated the middle of the game. Escobar 1 for 9 career against Zach Greinke. He steps in, and here we go. Right on time at 10:10 Eastern, and a swing and a miss at 93 upstairs. Escobar last night, a base hit, a walk, a line out to right, robbed by Puig on a great play. Fielder's choice ground ball, so he actually had a couple of singles bookending his evening. Breaking ball in the dirt, and you saw Greinke bounce off the mound as he showed bunt. Greinke won the Gold Glove for National League pitchers last year.
He's such a good athlete. He went 3 for 3 in his last start with a home run against the Phillies, so he can swing it, he can field his position, and yeah, he's a pretty good pitcher too.
1-1, and this time Escobar lays off the high heater. 20-year veteran CB Buckner has the play. Dan Isanya first, Lance Barrett second, and the crew chief. There he is, Dale Scott over at third base. 2-1 to the Nats leadoff man, hitting .309, 8th in the league. Got a breaking ball out to right center. It's coming back to Puig off the bat of the right-hander for the first out.
Well, everybody had the night off for the Dodgers last night. They're all back in there tonight. Ethier, Peterson, Puig, the outfield. Rollins, Callaspo, left side. Hernandez, Gonzalez, right side. Yasmani Grandal behind the plate.
Adrian Gonzalez, a power guy with 120 hits, batting just under 300. But in the power categories, he's among the best in the league. And he plays a very smooth first base. Here's Anthony Rendon, who sits safely 10 of 15 games since his return. Against Greinke, 1 for 3 career with a home run, 2 RBIs. Grandal tried to pull that ball down into the zone. CB Buckner not biting on the frame, and it's 1-1.
Remember Anthony Rendon's last at bat last night, hit a bolt to center field. Jock Peterson robbed him up against the fence, straightaway center.
Breaking ball, this one out to right, and Puig will back up a bit. He's right there, second out. So 2 Nats right-handers have gone the other way against Greinke to start the game.
First baseman number 11, Ryan Zimmerman.
Ryan Zimmerman, along with Wilson Ramos, the only 2 Nats on the roster right now who have as many as 2 career hits against Zach Greinke. Ryan 2 for 6 against him. Franchise RBI streaks. Ryan has the 9-gamer and he has the 8-gamer. So the rest are all expos, of course. .93 up and away, 1 ball, 1 strike. 16 for 48 since coming back. 4 homers, 11 RBIs. Late breaker at 89 for strike 2.
A slider away. See where Grandal's setting up. Zimmerman thinking something's going to be on the inner half. That was a pull swing to a slider away.
Target away. And now a 2-2. Zimmerman to the other side for Kike Hernandez. So all 3 right-handed batters, probably good approaches against Greinke, going the other way, but he gets the first 3, and now it's Joe Ross against the Dodgers. 137. Adrian Gonzalez in the middle of everything. 7 for 11 in that series at Washington with a couple of home runs, 3 RBIs, also a 2-base hit. He's 10th in runs, 9th in hits, 5th in extra base hits, 6th in homers, and 7th in runs batted in. He's 1 RBI behind Bryce Harper. So a tall task for the rookie Joe Ross.
See the arsenal right there. Fastball 55% of the time at 93. Slider's the pitch at 37% of the time. Occasional changeup at 87. Check out the 47 strikeouts to 4 walks. That's the stat that if you look at and you're a Dodger, you're coming up hacking tonight. Opened up his major league career facing 51 batters before issuing his first walk.
Jimmy Rollins. He's up there hacking. Foul ball off to the left. Jimmy on a 5-game hitting streak, 7 for 23. Rollins left-handed, just 204. 2 strikes, 2 swings. This one's fair. Ian Desmond has the angle. He has it for the first out.
And check out the defense tonight for the Nats. Worth Taylor Robinson, your outfield. Bryce Harper with a late scratch because of a sore left knee. Desmond Escobar left side. Rendon Zimmerman right side. And Wilson Ramos behind the plate.
So Clint Robinson inserted into the lineup late. No qualms about that. Putting him in there in that cleanup spot.
Well, the key for that is he knew before batting practice. The tough one for a bench player is when you find out after batting practice. And the reason why, when you're not playing, you work harder in BP. You really kind of just air it out and take a million ground balls. You run all over the place because you're not pacing yourself for the game.
Ross up and away with the slider at 84. Got ahead of his second consecutive hitter, Alberto Callasbo, hitting at 237. All these Dodgers, of course, seeing Ross first time around. Pitch low in the zone, slicing left field line and into the seats. Dodgers at home, even with the loss last night, one of the better records in baseball, 37-19. The Nats on the road, 27-30. And there's something about the Nats against Mattingly and the rest of the West. 20 games over 500 since the start of last year. Crazy. 1-2. Fastball up, overpowered him. Another pop-up. This time it's Escobar, foul ground. 2 outs. Nats, there it is. 37-17 since the start of last year. That is very impressive. Dodgers have lost 4 in a row for the first time in nearly 2 years. And Joe Ross, along with all the other great things he's doing, the league's only hitting .202 against him since the All-Star break.
If you're a bad team and you lose 4 in a row, it stinks. If you're a good team and you lose 4 in a row, it feels like you lost 10 in a row. You're in first place. Just doesn't usually happen, especially with the staff they have. But the last road trip, the Dodgers pitching staff not going deep into games. Don Mattingly really having to use his bullpen.
Kershaw tomorrow.
And if you missed it last night, their bullpen has a 7 ERA since the All-Star break.
Joe Ross missed his spot, and Gonzalez just missed hitting it out of the ballpark. You saw where Ramos was set up and where the pitch went, but Michael A. Taylor, no problem. 1-2-3. Bryce Harper last night hurting that knee. I guess aggravating it, right? He had a little step or two at the homestand.
Yeah, he slid on the warning track, kind of going this way during the homestand and made a sliding catch. A couple of dives last night where you watch his left knee bang against the turf. You see the little grimace right there when he got up. It was barking today. Matt Williams decided to give him the day off. And if I have to answer one more he's ducking Zach Greinke question, my head's gonna explode. Bryce Harper he loves to face the best, and he loves to play in Dodger Stadium. This is his favorite ballpark to play, and he doesn't duck anybody. So
I don't know who would even think that, unless you've never watched Bryce Harper.
Right, and a lot of people on the West Coast probably haven't had a chance to see him.
Clint Robinson hitting at .264. Goes the other way. That's a great swing, and it's a base hit. Clint Robinson now 2 for 4 against Zach Greinke, and it kind of works out this way from time to time when a guy's a late addition, isn't it?
Well, I talked to him around the cage. He said, well, I got an opportunity to get some at-bats tonight, and he was excited to play. Clint Robinson still thinks of himself as an everyday player. You love bench guys that have that mentality, so an opportunity for Robinson once again, taking advantage, 1 for 1, and there goes the no-hitter.
Next up, Jason Worth, traded to the Dodgers from Toronto back in 2004. Played here for a couple of years. Missed the entire 06 season because he had left wrist surgery April of that season. And then, of course, landed with the Phillies and landed quite well. Now Jason's had RBIs in 5 of his last 6 games.
Yeah, his wrist has had a tough career. Here he's a Dodger. Then as a Nat, a little foul tip there. Sometimes that can hurt worse than a full swing when you put on the brakes and your wrist is recovering.
.0-2 count now. I don't know how he reached that 0-2 breaking ball down and away, but he stayed alive. Greinke 11-2 with a 1.71 ERA coming in. He's gone at least 6 innings in every start, 22 of them this year. At least 7, 13 times, at least 8 innings, 4 times. Target away again. Worth breaking his bat, going the other way. Jason's going to have to hurry, and there's no throw. Pretty good job by Clint Robinson of barreling into the area of Jimmy Rollins there.
Well, last night Ian Desmond, his first at-bats. 13th home run of the year. That made it 2-0 in the second inning. Gave Gio Gonzalez a little cushion, who, by the way, was spectacular all night long. And then bookend homers for Desmond. His last time up, he goes deep. So 3 for 4, 2 homers, a single, and a stolen base for the Nats shortstop. And since the All-Star break, 277 average, 341 on base percentage, and 7 home runs.
Yeah, doubling his season total. That's a strike to the outside edge at the knees. Last 20 ball games, hitting safely in 15 of them. Looking for his first career hit against Zach Greinke.
But when you face Zach Greinke at Nats Park, if you're Nats here tonight, he had a great day. So whatever he did to you then, he's going to do to you again here tonight. And that has to be your mentality. How did he get me out last time? Where did he get me out? Inside, outside, hard, soft? And plan your game plan accordingly. Because he's not going to change. If he got you out before one way, he's going to try to get you out same way tonight.
Tony Tarasco dancing out of the way of that one. I think it's interesting to note here, and that swing from Desmond kind of takes it one step farther. All 5 hitters so far have hit the ball the other way against Greinke to start the game.
Well, it's interesting because everything's been away. He hasn't thrown one pitch in.
Yeah, but I mean, guys aren't up there trying to pull everything. And I think that's a good approach.
Well, you can't. Look where he's setting up. You can't pull that pitch.
There's a wild one. And Jason Worth cruising over to second base.
And if a guy's setting up off the plate away on the black away, you're going to hit the ball that way. If he comes in, you're ready for it. But everything Greinke does is black away and then expand away. And you'll take a free 90 feet anytime you can get it off Zach Greinke.
Desmond, 40 RBIs, looking to put the Nats on top. And Desmond will pull this one deep short. It'll take a good play by Rollins, and Desmond beats it out. With the play in front of Jason Worth, he stays at second, and Ian Desmond has another base hit, 4 in this series.
Well, good hustle by Desmond getting down the line, smelling the single, and smart play by Jason Worth, who, if he goes to third right there, gives Jimmy Rollins an easier chance for an out than the speedy Desmond going down the line, smelling the hit. Remember last night we had Ian stealing second base with a little stumble, and Matt Williams came out to second to make sure he's all right. The leg tested right here. First at bat, infield single, looks good.
Now hit safely, 16 of 21 games. Ian Desmond's first career hit in 14 at bats against Zach Greinke.
Wilson Ramos' strength is the ball away. Zach Greinke's strength is the ball away. Who wins?
Good idea on that breaking ball. Counts even 1-1. Michael A. Taylor, 3 hits in a row after his first at bat last night.
Well, an early run would be huge for Joe Ross, wouldn't it?
Ramos will tap it foul, and Bob Henley up with it. .38 of his 49 RBIs. And by the way, Ramos on a bit of an RBI streak. He's driven in 7 his last 6 games.
You see how he does it. He throws one in the zone, and then he throws one a little bit further out. Then one in the zone, then one a little bit further out.
Everything down and away in this AB, brought to you by Nissan. Target in. 94 with late dip and run to it, and Zach Greinke's first strikeout.
Yeah, that's pretty nasty right here. Watch the movement. 94 runner under the hands of Ramos. Great pitch by Zach Greinke for strike 3. And you remember last start, Zach Greinke had the benefit of, how should I say, a generous strike zone. A lot of players comment the next day how big the zone was, and it was a big zone for both sides.
Michael A. Taylor in the number 8 spot. 377 with runners in scoring position.
See, this is a time where as a guy hitting 8th, you expand your zone a little bit. It doesn't mean chase something over your head. But I'd be surprised if Zach Greinke gets real aggressive in the strike zone with Michael Taylor, especially after he had 3 hits last night. Yeah, he's just going to nibble.
And the count leverage lost on that check swing. 1-2 now. Pitcher on deck, number 8 hitter, who can do some damage. And now the battle begins for Michael A. Taylor. Chris Bryant, the far and away rookie run batted in leader. Jock Peterson, one of those guys, tied with 43. And that time Taylor able to lay off the 95.
See, this record is so tough against this guy. Every pitch he throws looks like a strike. And after he gets strike one, they very rarely are strikes.
He's had to throw 22 pitches this inning. Taylor not biting, and now it's 3-2. And this gives the base runners a head start.
I still think he's got a base open, the pitcher on deck. He doesn't have to throw a strike here. His command is such that he doesn't care about pitching with the bases loaded. He'd rather try a pitcher and a guy that obviously knows how to drive in a run.
Breaking ball and caught by Callaspo. So Michael A. Taylor got outside and got around that ball, but Callaspo, a great reaction to his left, and the pitcher appreciates that. So that 1.71 ERA in danger for a moment. Great play to end the second.
An older brother, Tyson, 6 years older than him, who's a pitcher with the San Diego Padres. And I talked with Joe the other day about the similarities and differences that he and Tyson share. Joe told me that both of them use their breaking ball a lot. They're both sinker and slider guys, and as you see by these numbers, very high percentage of sliders used by both Ross brothers. Differences, Joe says he works his changeup in a bit more. Tyson really doesn't throw that pitch at all, and Joe also feels his delivery is a bit simpler than his brother. Joe told me that he and Tyson are pretty close. He doesn't really see his older brother as someone that he really tries to follow everything he does, but he's a little bit of a mentor, not really mechanically or pitch grips, but he saw how hard Tyson worked growing up, both on his pitching and on his hitting, and that rubbed off on Joe. They don't really talk baseball a ton, mostly just life stuff. They shoot jokes and funny memes back and forth, but what a guy to kind of follow in the footsteps a little bit and pick up tips of the trade from time to time, and a guy who's been in the big leagues for a few years now, doing good things out in San Diego.
That he is, and good things here for the Nats. When you're talking cars, you're talking Coons. That's Dan with our Coons.com sideline report. Andre Ethier in the cleanup spot tonight.
Well, if they ever play on the same team, that would be cool. Did the Force brothers play together? The Negro brothers? I'm trying to think of brothers that pitched on the same team together.
I don't think the Force brothers did. By the way, that looked like a perfect pitch, and Wilson Ramos had a flinch before he threw that ball back to his pitcher. I know Wilson thought that second pitch was on the outside edge, and now the count goes to 3-0. Right in there.
The Weaver brothers.
And back before most of us even existed, I know the Dean brothers pitched on the same team. Dizzy and Paul. I think they called him Dizzy and Daffy.
You're right, they did.
Up and away, and a rare walk by Joe Ross. Only the 5th he's ever given up in 46 innings.
Pedro and Ramon Martinez.
Next up is Yasmani Grandal.
The Benesses.
Oh yeah, Andy and Ellen. Right.
That's it, I'm done.
Grandal hitting .289, 40, so actually 60 some points higher than he hit with the Padres last year when he drove in 49 runs. Switch hitting catcher with some pop. 1 ball, 1 strike. Ramos shifting inside here, and the pitch up and in. 2 balls, 1 strike.
I just think tonight just as big as last night. Obviously when you're on the West Coast and you know the Mets have already won, you don't want to try to win a series against Clayton Kershaw tomorrow night. And the Dodgers have lost 4 in a row. Greinke coming off a rough start against the Phillies. He won that game 10-8, but he gave up 6 runs on 7 hits. So there's the standings, real time.
Another 3-ball count. And we've just seen something you never see from this youngster. Back-to-back walks in the second inning, and Ian Desmond will come in and have a chat.
Right fielder, number 66, Yasiel Puig.
Yasiel Puig is next.
Now, the worst part about the 2 walks for Ross right now is now you get into a situation where you have to throw Puig strikes, and Puig is a hitter that you normally don't want to throw strikes to. He's going to chase. But since you've walked 2 guys back-to-back, now you feel the need to throw strikes, and that's really the last thing you want to do to Puig.
First pitch, 85, sliding its way in.
He's a house. Look at that. I mean, come on. Who's put together like that in the big leagues nowadays? Stanton.
Target in.
In the 90s, he would have been a little scrappy leadoff hitter. But in today's game, look, I mean, he was just put together.
Listed at 6'2", 255. Hitting .241. And a tapper on 85. So Ross, with an off-speed pitch, gets ahead here.
Fastball higher than high above the letters, or slider way off the plate down and away. Either one plays.
And a ball out to right center. Didn't hit it very well. Ethier tagging but going nowhere. Michael A. Taylor circling behind that ball. Not that long of a throw to hit Desmond, and a very big first out.
Well, Yasiel Puig's locked in. He doesn't miss this pitch. That slider didn't do a whole lot from Joe Ross. And Puig, who's been struggling of late, gets underneath it. And the Nats will take it.
So Mercedes-Benz tracking that pitch for the first out, bottom of the second. Here's Jock Peterson. Good power numbers, but hitting .221. Came into the game late last night. Pinch hitter in the 7th. Got a couple of at-bats, struck out both times, and he loves to early hack. And the Nats went with a fastball anyway. Great movement on that 95.
A lot of people back home will see this comparison. How about Brady Anderson? This stance with the bat straight up and down, the leg kick. Right? Close. Minus the sideburn coming out of the ear flap.
And another heater in there. 0-2.
I talk all the time about leg kick guys. If they're hot, they're hot. If they're not, they're not. There's really no in between. And it's just a timing mechanism when it's early and slow, like you see with Ryan Zimmerman or Carlos Gonzalez right now. Lucas Duda even. You're hitting a million. When it's late and quick and your head's moving and it's not on time, it's hard. It's inconsistent.
Time given. Jock Peterson has struck out 133 times this year. That's the most of any hitter in the National League. Chris Bryant right behind him. On 0-2, it's popped up. Early twilight time here. Ramos getting rid of the mask at the last moment and grabs it for a big second out.
80s night at Nats Park, Saturday, August 29th. Break out your leg warmers in neon. Nats take on the Miami Marlins, 7:05 start. Special ticket purchase, you can receive a Nats Rubik's Cube. While supplies last. For details and special ticket information, visit national.com/80s night. And for all your costume needs, visit Bob Carpenter's Closet. He will supply all the clothes for that night at the ballpark.
And you will never feel better about yourself.
That's right. It's going to be fun.
Here's Kike Hernandez hitting .291. Had a base hit last night over his last 3 games, 4 for 8. 23-year-old infielder from San Juan. That's some kind of slider right there. Looked like a strike for a while.
Probably the best slider of the night from Joe. He's having trouble getting on top and getting that break that we've gotten used to. And right there, figured it out. Kind of slowed down the lower half. Got it out front. And a great pitch.
Ethier walked to lead off the inning, and then Grandal.
Kind of a little different situation with Michael Taylor last inning. Zach Greinke can really hit. So you have to go after Hernandez in this situation, I think.
Late for the fastball. Inside the numbers with Jeep. So swings and misses out of all rookie pitchers, and Joe Ross right at 25%. Minimum 7 starts to get on that list, brought to you by Jeep. 47 strikeouts in 45 innings coming into this start tonight. Tried to pull that slider. Desmond the short way to Rendon. 2 leadoff walks, not a problem for Joe Ross. On a gorgeous night, look at that sunset looking out toward the Pacific. 7:48 p.m. No score.
Pitches, season high for him. He scattered 7 hits, 1 walk, struck out 6, 8 scoreless innings of work. And he had the fastball curveball combination going. Changeup was good as well. Handshakes in the dugout. I think it's best out of the year considering everything that's been going on lately. Just stepped up like an ace. He was outstanding.
And he's a 9-game winner. So in the top of the 3rd, one night later, it'll be Ross, Escobar, and Rendon. Evidently a little cool for the kid from South Florida here tonight.
And, oh, I forgot to add one heck of a ride to the ballpark before the game.
Did you bring Ross today?
I'm waiting to tell you that later.
Okay.
I may or may not have.
In there, 3rd inning underway. For Greinke, 35 pitches, 24 strikes. Ross on the year, 2 for 18.
Joe Ross saying, I will take that, please, Mr. Bucknor.
One-two pitch. Nasty on the breaking ball, and Greinke, second strikeout. Nats go 2 for 9 first time around. Moment in history brought to you by University of Maryland, University College, and the great left-hander Warren Spahn, still most all-time wins among left-handed pitchers. And an award in his name is given out every year for the best left-hander in baseball. Gio won it 3 years ago. Clayton Kershaw has won it 3 of the last 4 years. So both in the yard as we talk about the great Spahn today. There's Yunel Escobar. Left side, off the glove of Callaspo, an easy base hit now as Escobar can pull up. And Yunel now has 3 hits in 6 at-bats in the series.
Anthony Rendon.
Well, that's a base hit, but that's one a major league third baseman. You have to make that play, right? That's a big hop. It looked like Callaspo thought he had it. Maybe the ball picked up a little speed on him. But, I mean, that's a high hop just out of his reach. I mean, it's a single all the way, but I'm sure Zach Greinke would have loved for that play to have been made.
And with 1 out now, Rendon, who lined out hitting the ball well to right field, right at Yasiel Puig last time up. Well, first 3 innings, 3 hits against Greinke. Got the call on the inside edge that time, 1-1. Long second inning with 22 pitches. And Rendon goes down and gets a breaking ball. Trouble for Peterson. Didn't see it at first, and now he does.
What's that time? And this place is as bad as any. And I don't know what it is. I'd love to tell you why. Maybe it's because the stadium is so high here behind home plate. But once it gets up beyond the stadium, it just disappears. Maybe because there's no clouds. That's a good shot of it above that Dodger logo. Once the ball gets up there into the sky, just can't see it. See, he's looking up there.
Here's Zimmerman. Ryan hit a ground ball to Kike Hernandez at second base first time up. Got a pitch up, base hit. Ryan Zimmerman, 17th hit in 50 at bats since coming back.
Number 25, Clint Robinson.
Yeah, location mistake, supposed to be down the way, and all of a sudden right-handed hitters are getting something to pull second time around off Greinke. He was away off the plate with everything. Command not as sharp as it was in the first inning, and now a chance for Clint Robinson to put his ball club ahead.
Robinson, with authority, went the other way for a base hit his first time up. He goes the other way again, but Andre Ethier is there. So guys don't want to get to 2 strikes against either of these pitchers. A lot of early hacks tonight. The Nats have out hit the Dodgers 4-0, no score.
Nats Couch Cam, and you just might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast that's brought to you by T-Mobile. Great sunset here at Dodger Stadium tonight. Gorgeous.
300 acres of baseball heaven. You got to come here just to look around and realize how vast it is. Talked about the height of the grandstand behind home plate. Nothing like it in baseball. By baseball standards these days, it's just huge. 56,000 the capacity. Zach Greinke, 11 hits this year. He's a .219 career batter.
And the view from the top looking back toward downtown Los Angeles is just amazing. When you come in at the top parking lot, the media parking lot. This place is gorgeous. Although when I look at the upper deck right there and the blue seats, and for those of you who don't know, the reason the seats are blue and yellow, it's supposed to remind people of the ocean. The yellow representing the beach, the blue representing the water. But when I look at the upper deck, it's all I can think of Norberg from Naked Gun coming down in a wheelchair. Yep, that's it. Just kind of bouncing down those stairs, hitting the bottom and flipping over.
Greinke got jammed. Great pitch by Joe Ross, and that's Anthony Rendon. First time through the order, the Dodgers go 0 for 7 with 2 walks. We're into the 8 o'clock hour here, 11 o'clock for those of you back home. Thanks for staying up and hanging out with us on this Tuesday night, late night Nats baseball from Dodger Stadium. And by the way, those seats, these are the original colors of the seats when they first opened the ballpark back in '62. They had gotten away from that for a few years with some kind of royal blue, Dodger blue seats, and when they completed the renovation a number of years ago, they went back to the original, as you say, ocean colors of the ballpark.
Great ballpark.
0-2 now. Good pitch to Jimmy Rollins, diving with that breaking ball. Rollins popped up to Ian Desmond, first time up. One and two to Jimmy. Popped him up again. Wilson Ramos right behind the plate, really gives the mask about a 15-yard toss, and he has it for the second out.
Man, a lot of pop-ups here tonight. Join the Nats in September 11th and 13th to be exact, as they take on the Marlins. Nationals destination travel package. Space is limited. Get on it right now. Your Nationals destination package includes game tickets, hotel accommodations, VIP ballpark tour, and more. I'll meet you out that thingy in left center field. I already made that promise. Visit nationals.com/destinations for details and book your trip today.
Wilson Ramos handling Joe Ross. They're working well together here. And 32-year-old switch hitter Alberto Callaspo is the hitter. He popped up first time. Foul ball to Escobar. Wow. Frisbee action and then just disappeared.
So this is the 11th hitter. Joe Ross has 7 fly ball outs. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to infielders. There it is. 2 to the catcher. 1 to Ian Desmond. Yunel Escobar. And Anthony Rendon. Pop-up practice.
Yeah. And Michael A. Taylor's caught 2 fly balls in center. 1 deep by Gonzalez. And that is just over the jump of Escobar. Dodgers have their first base hit.
No stride, playing a little pepper, just serves it into left. And the line moves to Adrian Gonzalez, who was nothing but trouble for the Nats when they came to Nats Park. He was 7 for 11 in that series with a double and 2 homers, 3 RBI. There it is.
Hit a ball about 390 first time that Michael A. Taylor caught on the track. Dead center field. Came into this game 5 for his last 9. And Ross just spins another beautiful breaking ball.
Good slider. 1-0 count. Adrian Gonzalez thinking, I'm getting a fastball right here, and I'm hitting it a mile. And Joe Ross gets on top of the slider, late breaker. Gonzalez guessed wrong.
Pretty good pitch, a little run on it, took it outside. 2-1.
See, the 1-0 slider, though, plants doubt in Gonzalez's head here because it's 2-1, and he's thinking, am I getting a fastball? He threw me a 1-0 slider. What am I getting here?
'88 up.
That was a changeup. And you saw Wilson Ramos watch after the pitch. Ramos, okay, we got away with one. Let's get that down a little bit. Little body language from the Nats catcher. Get it down, get it down. I don't care how poised you are, when you take the mound as a 22-year-old at Dodger Stadium for the first time, there has to be butterflies.
Runner at first, 2 outs, and a 2-2 count. Gonzalez stopped to fill things up. So Ryan Zimmerman takes a stroll behind the runner here. Callaspo off and running on a 3-2 pitch. And Gonzalez strikes out on another slider, and Joe Ross kind of looking like Drew Storen with a killer slider of his own here in LA tonight. Nasty. Dodgers, no score. And Joe Ross matching Zach Greinke nearly pitch for pitch here. Greinke 32 strikes, Ross 30. And Jason Worth takes one for a ball. 4th inning underway. Hit into a 4-6 fielder's choice after the Robinson leadoff hit, 2nd inning.
We talked about the key to beating the Dodgers in this series. Their bullpen coming into the last night has a 6.99 ERA since the All-Star break. That's the highest in the big leagues. So yeah, you're facing Zach Greinke and you're facing Clayton Kershaw, but if for some reason you could just hang around and keep the score tied, run up a pitch count, and get into the Dodgers bullpen, if you want to match up bullpens, that's how the Nats win this series.
Worth 1 for 9 career against the right-hander. That is right to the outside edge.
And this is where he usually goes power changeup in the upper 80s, low 90s. It's his best pitch. It's his out pitch with 2 strikes.
Hit on the ground to third. Callaspo. Here's Dan with more on Ian Desmond.
Bob, it's been a lot of ups for Ian Desmond since the All-Star break, but he has been fairly streaky over the last handful of weeks, and I talked to Rick Shue about that. He said Desmond came back from the All-Star break. He was downshifted and not swinging as hard, really staying on the ball and seeing it well. Then he went through a stretch where he was kind of pressing, getting out ahead of himself, and getting too rotational with his swing. Shue said the key, Desmond staying within himself, slowing down, staying directional, and Matt Williams likes right now that his head isn't drifting towards the pitcher, very still.
So what Dan means by rotational is when you see his front shoulder fly out and his head fly out in the third base dugout, and he's rotating around the baseball. And when Dan's means directional, that means when we show you his head still, his hands are going to the ball and finishing up the middle where the ball just came from. So rotational, no good. Directional, very good. Just like anything else, you don't want your power source going away from what's going to make it powerful. And if you're finishing your swing toward the third base dugout, number one, your head's going to go with it. Your shoulder, your hips are all flying open. You can't hit anything away or soft.
1 ball and 2 strikes. Ian's now hit safely at over 320. 16 of 21 games. Out of fastball at 93 and couldn't get to it. Zach Greinke, 3rd strikeout. For the achiever in you, PNC Bank with our minor league report, and we check in on Eric Fetty, the young man out of UNLV, 1st rounder, 18th overall, taken last year. And he's been promoted to Hagerstown, a little further up from the Auburn Double Days, where he was 4-1 with a solid ERA. Good strikeout to walk ratio. So his debut, 4 1/3. Eric Fetty, 22 years of age, a Vegas native. Recovering from Tommy John surgery. 1-0 and a big dropping curveball to Wilson Ramos. Greinke struck him out first time.
This is shaping up to be one of those games where it just has to be lockdown, Trump-type defense. Anytime you get a base runner 90 feet is so valuable. And the first person that flinches or makes a mistake loses.
Yeah, that 93 plays quicker than 93 after everything else you see, huh?
Yeah, he's sneaky fast.
Two-two pitch. And Wilson Ramos puts one upstairs, right side. Here's the entire at bat from Mercedes-Benz. Couple of the pitches blown away.
Some of those pitches started over the Mercedes logo and came down to where they ended.
And Ramos at 91 taking that.
We always show you pitch track of where the ball ends, but
yeah,
where did it start? Some of those sinkers start off the plate and you give up, they run back. Some of those curveballs start over your head and drop down right in the middle. So you look at pitch track and say, what is he doing? Those balls are right down. Well, that's not where they started, it's where they ended.
Payoff pitch. Great at bat by Wilson Ramos. Didn't bite on the 3-2 slider. Zach Greinke, 28 walks this year in 156 innings.
Michael Taylor.
First tonight.
Nibbling. And Ramos does a nice job of taking that pitch. It was away.
Next up, Michael A. Taylor. Robbed of an RBI hit by Alberto Callaspo on a second inning line drive to third.
I'll tell you this, I mean, just by looking on TV, I'd love to talk to the hitters right now, but his stuff, his Greinke's stuff, is nowhere near how it was at Nats Park the last time they faced him. It's still good, but it was great the last time. This time, they have a chance.
Tampa to short. Jimmy Rollins over to Hernandez. So the Nats are gone. They've had runners in 3 straight innings, stranding 5 in a scoreless game.
Situation room right now with Wolf Blitzer. Wolf, what do you got?
Fries with ketchup. Byron Scott trying to call a timeout against some of these pitchers.
It's Lakers night here at the ballpark. Laker girls are here. Byron Scott is here. Some Laker I didn't know throughout the first pitch. So Lakers night here at the ballpark.
Got it all the way home on a fly, too.
Yep.
A victory for basketball players everywhere. Joe Ross, 51 pitches, 30 strikes in 3 innings. Andre Ethier, ball 1, bottom of the 4th. Joe uncharacteristically walked Ethier and Grandal to lead off the 2nd. Got out of that jam, getting 3 in a row. Long-time Dodger, 9th year out here for the 33-year-old outfielder. Originally drafted by Oakland. And he hits one out to left center, hits it well. And Taylor can't get to the one-hopper. Then it hops over his head. Takes Michael A a while to get there. And that is a great throw to third, and he's out. Taylor guns him out from center field.
Well, Don Mattingly's going to hold up a hand here, and they might look at this again. Andre Ethier didn't think he was out. And we'll go over the play again. Michael Taylor broke in on this. Then broke back, and they're definitely going to look at it. And I think C.B. Buckner, who rotated up to third base, might have been blocked out by Yunel Escobar. Let's look again. Well, can't tell from that angle. Remember now, it's got to be definitive to overturn the deal. What do you got here? Okay, is that definitive? Looked like you might miss them, but it's got to be obvious.
I mean, did he get him on that first low swipe? Crowd trying to sell it.
I mean, I don't know if it was the greatest tag in the world, but I also don't know. We're showing this view right now on the screen, and it's a little more definitive. That one was a little more convincing.
Don Mattingly, Tim Wallach.
But I was about to say Michael Taylor broke in on it, then got too close to the fence trying to make up for breaking in on it. The ball bounced over his head, and he turned what could have been an out into a triple. Great throw at the end, trying to make up for it. But this is one of the closest ones I've seen all year. And they're showing it 8 billion times on Dodger Vision.
Yeah. And the way the crowd's reacting, we might have a riot if they don't get the call. I mean, they are convinced that he's safe.
You know his facial expressions. He can't tell a lie. Watch. What do you got, you know? He calls every call. I don't know, man.
If anything, replay has been unpredictable in terms of the result. Sometimes no matter what you see.
I don't know. I mean
they called him safe, so it has to be indisputable.
But will they overturn it?
Runner is safe.
So Michael Taylor, watch at the top of the screen. He comes in. First step is in, and then he has to make up for it and go back. And the ball takes a hop over the fence, and that's where the double turns into a triple. Tries to make up for it with an incredible throw right on the money. And Yunel Escobar having to make the pick and get the tag back down. Missed him by, what, an inch, if that?
So Ethier the triple, Yasmani Grandal the hitter with the infield in. Pulls the string. Best changeup of the night for a strike. Rondell, 279 left-handed. A catcher with 44 RBIs already this year. He's been a great acquisition for this ball club in the Matt Kemp deal from the Padres. And that's right to the inside edge, sliding inside to the lefty.
Obviously pitching for the strikeout. Joe Ross with two beauties to start this at bat up with, both sliders.
High fly ball, not deep. Taylor's call, runner staying, just hit the cutoff man, 1 out.
Okay.
Puig next.
Number 66, Puig.
Pretty nice piece of pitching by Joe Ross right there. Crowd into the ball game, everybody on their feet, getting loud here at Dodger Stadium. Big first out. A guy that's driven in 44 runs this year.
Puig fly ball to center first time, not deep.
I say slider, 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 slider. If he chases and does you a favor, great. If you walk him, Jock Peterson, Kike Hernandez, go get those guys. Peterson's more of a strikeout, I believe, than this guy.
And maybe you set that up with a fastball up and in on the first pitch.
Good call.
And it's 2-0.
It's the same one he missed his first at bat. We talked about the one he flied out the center field on, and we said Joe Ross got away with one. That time he didn't miss it. Joe wanted to bury that. He didn't want to throw it for a strike. He knows that he had 133 strikeouts on deck in the form of Jock Peterson. But Yasiel Puig stood there and watched that one for about an hour before he ran.
2-0 Dodgers on Puig's 9th of the year. Ross gives up his 5th big league home run in 49 innings. Here's Peterson. Fastball misses up and in. Dodgers the leading home run hitting team in the league at 138 now.
Strong man hit that ball.
16 last year, 19 the year before that.
He can go watch it on video and dig himself for a minute down there. That's where he's going.
2-1.
It might be the same thing if I hit one that far.
Three balls, one strike.
That's the first extra base hit that Joe Ross is allowed to a right-handed hitter this year.
That's amazing. Working up with fastballs, and he walks Peterson. Third walk of the night.
Number 14, Kike Hernandez.
So you're talking about 49 innings of big league pitching. Gave up 37 hits coming into this game. Dodgers have 3 tonight. And a right-hander finally gets him for something more than a single.
I can't hear you, Dodgers fans. Make some noise!
Boy, he had Puig set up too nice. That first pitch was a great idea. Buzz the tower with 94 so he can't dive out there for the slider and then just go slider, slider, slider. It was the right pitch. He just got a little too much plate with it. And Puig was looking for it.
Kike Hernandez. Ground ball to Ian Desmond, first time up. Greinke on deck here. 93, big swing.
Now the task at hand, keep it 2-0. Because that guy's pitching.
On the outside edge. 0-2 to Hernandez. Two with one out. Deep short. Desmond close at second and out. Good play by Ian to unload it to Rendon for the 6-4.
You know, something you don't really hear talked about with instant replay is the roller coaster of emotions that players go through in the course of a replay review. It's something that players have never been trained to do at any level of the minor leagues, at any level at all for that matter. And now all of a sudden, you're a hitter standing on first. Is it a hit? Am I 0 for 1? Am I 1 for 1? You have a 22-year-old pitcher standing on the mound in Dodger Stadium for the first time going, is it nobody out or a leadoff triple? In the roller coaster that you have to go through and the energy you have to spend as a player now, it's something, it's uncharted waters. It's something you've never gone through your whole life. And you could be at home saying, well, it's not that big a deal. It is. You're fired up for an out. You're pumping a fist. You got the guy at third, and all of a sudden you have to wait. And you don't know. And now you have to totally change gears from a mental standpoint to striking the next guy out versus nobody on, one out. I don't like that aspect of it, and I don't like replay.
Not like you can have challenges in spring training intra-squad games to practice for something.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a whole new dimension for all of us.
I imagine at the last out, we won the game. No, let's wait around a little bit and see if we won or not and change that emotion to a loss. And it's going to come down to that eventually, too. It's not just going to be a hit or an out. It's going to be a win or a loss in a big game, too.
Yeah, and there's going to be a throw to a catcher from the outfield in a playoff game. It's going to really stir the pot at some point. That seems to be the one that's the toughest. Desmond on the run, scoops it, fires on the run. Ryan Zimmerman makes a nifty grab at first. Ethier triple, Puig home run, 2-0 Greinke and the Dodgers.
On over 400 devices, real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking, and more. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details. Strong man hit ball far.
Joe Ross leads off bottom of, or rather top of the fifth. 64 pitches, 42 strikes for Zach Greinke. One ball, one strike. Struck him out first time. Greinke's ERA right now 1.67 after 4 scoreless innings tonight. Opponent's batting $192. And Ross, pretty good hack at a fastball away.
But even to a pitcher in a 2-1 count, Zach Greinke painting black, just putting the ball right on the black of the plate away. Never really taking a pitch off and saying, okay, it's the opposing pitcher, I'll just groove one.
Two pitch. Even to the opposing pitcher, everything away here. And then he tries to get him on the hands, and Joe able to stay with it.
Pretty good at bat working by Joe Ross. He's got one of those names where you almost have to say his first name and last name like it's one name, don't you think? Joe Ross.
Hadn't thought about it. Joe Ross.
Can't just call him Ross.
Try to say Greinke that fast. 2-2. That's nasty. Strikeout number 4. The opposing pitcher twice. Tomorrow night here at Dodger Stadium, Clayton Kershaw 9-6. ERA 2.51. Jordan Zimmerman 8-7, 3.44. Then you're seeing the entire San Francisco series only day game will be Sunday. Nats will be off Monday, then 3 at Colorado on another long road trip. So by the end of this trip, the Nationals will have been on the road 3 full weeks in the last 4. But then a lot of home games await. Nats will basically have 2 homestands coming up, interrupted only by a 3-game trip to St. Louis. That's a long way off. A lot of business to take care of here. Escobar off the glove of Callaspo, a hit last time, and I'm kind of glad he didn't stop his swing on that breaking ball. Hate to see him hurt his hand again on something like that. And he hits one really hard in the left. Great effort by Jimmy Rollins. That sound was about as loud as the Puig home run, and Escobar is 2 for 3.
That's what I'm saying. A long way to go in this game. Zach Greinke doesn't have the A+ stuff going here tonight. It's still good, but it's not like we saw him last time at Nats Park. Second hit of the night for Yunel Escobar, and the 5th hit of the night for the Nats.
One on, one out. Anthony Rendon. Line drive to right, fly ball to center.
Pretty good pitch right there. Didn't get the call. This is where I think Anthony Rendon feasted off Denard Span reaching first base last year and all the fastballs he saw hitting second because of the threat of Denard Span stealing. And maybe even the distraction that pitchers had trying to think about Span stealing second base. Yunel Escobar, 1 stolen base this year, not a threat to steal. So now as a pitcher, you're not even thinking about him. You're totally focused on one of the better hitters in the National League last year. He doesn't have that same benefit this year with Span hurt.
1 ball and 2 strikes to Anthony with 1 out. 94 trying to paint away was Greinke. Way upstairs and a high throw back easily Escobar. One push up before he gets up.
Hey, you get a workout in, you get a workout in. There's always time for a workout. So his day's pretty busy. He just got a push up in.
Couple of knocks too. 121 hits. Rendon and another line drive caught by Callaspo. 2 outs.
Ball was scalded.
First baseman Ryan Zimmerman.
You can't hit any better than this. There just happens to be a dude there. Good swing by Anthony Rendon. Good play by Callaspo. He was ready for it. Really had no choice. That ball caught him.
Ryan Zimmerman now, and he hit a solid single to left last time up. 1 for 2.
Don't you think it's weird it's Laker night and Magic Johnson isn't here?
Yeah, we're assuming he's not here, or he would have been introduced, right?
Yeah, or I just know where he sits. He's not
Oh,
there.
you do?
Yeah.
Okay. 2-0.
Careful right here.
Gets a call up in the zone with 91. Both guys with pitch counts getting up there a bit. Ross 71 through 4. Greinke in the mid 80s here with 2 outs, 5th inning.
Through 111 pitches his last start. 69 of those for strikes.
And Zimmerman gets to that heater away. Yeah, and that was in 6 innings. A 10-8 win, kind of a crazy one at Philly 5 days ago. I think it's interesting and pretty impressive that Greinke hasn't thrown under 6 innings any start all year. Never has had that one outing where everything went wrong and he just couldn't get to that point. 2-2 pitch. Nasty slider away. Ryan Zimmerman strikes out. And that's 5 tonight for Zach Greinke. He has given up 5 hits and stranded 6 runners.
Yasiel Puig on a slider from Joe Ross right in the middle of his power zone. And he hit it far and he watched it a while. And after a leadoff triple by Andre Ethier, Yasiel Puig picks him up and picks himself up to make this a 2-0 game.
That he did. And here's Joe Ross, 5th inning of work. Jimmy Rollins. Fastball got in on him. 1 ball, 1 strike. Jimmy Rollins 0 for 2 with a pop up to short. And he fouled out to Wilson Ramos last time. Rollins in the series 1 for 6. Base hit first time up last night against Gio. Challenge fastball. It hits the bag. And no chance for Rendon to shuffle it over to Joe Ross. So the Dodgers get a break, but it also might have kept the ball out of the right field corner.
Yeah, it could have been a triple, maybe. You never know. It gets weird down there in the right field corner in a hurry. And I don't know if Ryan Zimmerman would have got to that ball. It was hit hard, so. Well, it looks like the Dodgers catch a break. Maybe the Nats did.
Yeah. Here's Callaspo, speed guy on first. And we'll see if they play a little add-on baseball here. Escobar thinks so on the grass at third. Callaspo, switch hitter, veteran guy, handles the bat.
So important for Joe Ross to keep this a 2-0 game. Zach Greinke's pitch count is high. He's not finishing this baseball game. Don Mattingly's going to have to go to his bullpen, and his bullpen's been letting him down. So, yeah, it's 2-0 Dodgers right now. But if Joe Ross and the Nationals can keep it 2-0, keep running that pitch count up, they have a chance to win this game.
That's a hit into right field. But Robinson on a hop, and the Dodgers with Gonzalez coming on are in business here in the 5th inning. So they've had 4 hits and a walk in the last 2 innings.
No conference going on in the Nats dugout. Steve McCaddy probably going to go to the phone. They're just deciding who they're calling.
Usually a Tanner Roark time of the game right here.
Could be trying.
He hasn't pitched a whole lot. The Nats are a couple of innings, about 6 spots away from the pitcher batting. So here's Adrian Gonzalez, who has hit a fly ball to center and struck out. He goes up hacking, smelling RBIs. One behind Bryce Harper with 68. Here's Blake. Gonzalez, last 2 years, 216 RBIs combined. Great pitch, 84. Buried the slider.
If you remember his last at-bat, when he struck out, he got a 1-0 slider, a 2-1 changeup, and a 3-2 slider from Joe Ross. So in fastball counts, Joe Ross went soft to Adrian Gonzalez last time, and it worked.
Then Desmond dropping the ball as it came from Ross. Jimmy Rollins didn't give him a whole lot of daylight there.
I like the idea, though, looking for outs other than at the plate. That's okay. I like what Joe Ross is doing. He's not in a rush to get the out. I think a lot of young pitchers, first time in the major league level, get to an 0-2 count, and they get in a rush to record the out. So much emphasis on pitch count nowadays. Sometimes against really good hitters like Adrian Gonzalez, you have to set them up once you get 2 strikes to get that third.
Fastball up and in, and Michael A. Taylor behind it. Tagging is Rollins, going nowhere, and bang. Look at that throw.
Wow. Well, that was a nice job of getting back behind that baseball, and with a fast runner. Jimmy Rollins looking out at him right now. They're having a little stare down. But Michael Taylor did a nice job of getting behind that ball and throwing a strike to Yunel Escobar. Look at, they're jawing right now. Jimmy Rollins just signaled out to him and says, wow, did you see that? Look at him backing up, getting behind this baseball, getting his momentum toward the target. And a current shortstop to a former shortstop says, wow, great throw.
Andre Ethier next. He changed the ball game with that triple, leading off last inning. And this one to left for Jason Worth. 2 quick outs after 2 on, nobody out.
Well, maybe just even reading this promo have a couple runs in it. Rally Gnome, what do you think? Catching Nats Tuesday, August 25th, 7:05. Open up a 3-game set against the Padres. First, $25,000. You get an Anthony Rendon Garden Gnome. Check out all the social media stuff with hashtag RendGnome for more information, or visit Nationals.com to purchase your ticket today.
Yasmani Grandal. Walking a fly ball to center. Identical sliders, down and in, 2-0. Leading off the inning, Jimmy Rollins with that base hit that hit the bag. Might have been more. Then Callaspo a base hit. Joe Ross went to work against 2 great hitters, Gonzalez and Ethier. 2 fly balls brings us to 2-0 with 2 outs and 2 on. Ball 3. Danger lurking if you don't end the inning here. Walked him on 4, and for Ross, 4th walk of the night. He had 4 walks in 45 innings before tonight.
Well, do you like the sinker of Blake Treinen versus Yasiel Puig? Do you have enough confidence in Treinen to throw strikes with the bases loaded, 2 outs? That's what they're talking about right now, and I think this is going to be a little, let's go over what we want to do to Yasiel Puig. Steve McCaddy out of the Nats dugout. Still think the slider's the pitch, you just got to execute. mean, you'd like to say something to the effect that this guy wants to be the hero. He's going to be ultra aggressive right here. That's his makeup. You can take advantage of this situation and his anxious nature at the plate. And it's a hard guy to walk with the bases loaded, 2 outs is my point. He's swinging. He wants to be the hero. He wants to do his thing at second base or more. Take advantage of that. Make him swing at your pitch.
Throws the fastball by him in 94. Nissan will track it.
And Joe Ross shaking his head. He wanted this in more. A little shake of the head after. But still a good fastball for strike one.
Into right. But Robinson can't get it. 2 runs are going to score. Here comes the third. The throw home is not in time.
That's no knock on Clint Robinson, an infielder by nature. But if Bryce Harper's in the lineup tonight, he catches this baseball. Good effort by Robinson. He went a long way for it. Just couldn't come up with it in the end. Went for the backhand slide, and that's going to do it for Joe Ross. And Puig was flying around second. He was not going to stop. Triple all the way.
The Dodgers get 5 of their 6 hits in the last 2 innings, and now they're in to the Nats bullpen.
Clint Robinson gave it a good whirl here. The ball was in the air a while, kind of tailing away from him. But he was respecting the power of Yasiel Puig and just couldn't get there. Pretty good effort. Bases cleared. 5-0 game. And I should correct myself. A healthy Bryce Harper makes that play. But a good effort by Robinson. Just couldn't come up with it.
Yasiel Puig, 7 total bases, 5 RBIs. And now Jock Peterson faces Blake Trinan. Peterson 2 for 2 against him in the series in D.C. 4 2/3 for Joe Ross. 6 hits, 4 walks, a strikeout, 1 homer. And responsible for 1 more runner. It's Puig at third with 2 outs. 97 right by the left-handed rookie. Peterson, a high fly foul.
Wow. He's got a little sample size of the power of Jock Peterson right there, and a towering foul ball. You got Yasiel Puig going, whew. Oh, it is a strike too, really, but he got a hold of it nonetheless. Just couldn't keep it fair.
Nasty breaking ball down and in. Trying to get the strikeout. A lot of damage done. Yasiel Puig ties the career high with 5 RBIs. 5-0 Dodgers. Since the 3rd inning, and Clint Robinson has one of their 5 on the night. Outside, 1-4 is Robinson, count of 1-0. '87th pitch by Zach Greinke there, and he misses ball 2. So after midnight back home, this one's going to be going on for a while. The Nats just have to try to extend things any way they can against Zach Greinke. As FP mentioned, maybe another inning or 2 for him before the Dodger bullpen has to take hold of things. Look out, that's a breaking ball down and in, and Clint hit it hard.
Well, in a 2-0 game, it's all you had to do is get Greinke out of here and hang around and keep it 2-0. In a 5-0 game, you have to score a couple runs off him now before you get to the Dodgers bullpen, if you're going to get in this game.
Good take on 2-2.
Four-seam fastball could have went either way, right on the edge. Same pitch.
Nats box, 2 hits in the 2nd by Robinson and Desmond, stranded 2. Hits in the 3rd by Escobar and Zimmerman, stranded 2. Ramos a walk in the 4th. Escobar his 2nd hit last inning. So 6 runners stranded so far. Robinson rips one up the middle. He's 2 for 3. And he's also 3 for 6 career against Zach Greinke.
Left fielder, Jason Worth.
Well, leadoff man aboard here in the 6th for the Nats. Nice swing by Clint Robinson. Bullet up the middle. And that's trying to get that line moving here in the top of the 6th.
Jason Worth, couple of ground balls, 1 to second, 1 to third. This high pop fly playable, it appears. Gonzalez just onto the track for the first out.
All right, we promised you early in the game. Here's your data strong fan photo of the game. It's somebody that looks just like Bryce Harper with somebody that kind of looks like his little brother. That's brought to you by T-Mobile. Natitude 34. That guy looked just like Bryce, didn't he?
Uncanny resemblance.
Amazing. I don't know. It was weird.
Ian Desmond can't believe that was strike 1. 1 for 2 tonight. Gathering his first career hit against Zach Greinke. Now it's a slider sitting up a bit, but it was away enough. Strike 2.
Now, the good thing about hitting a couple home runs is obviously your swing is right. The one negative from hitting a few home runs is it feels so good you want to do it every single pitch after that. And most hitters have a tendency to get a little bit too big after that. The way to cure that is a base hit to right and just staying within your game plan, and then the home runs come. Good take. You see how he just teases the zone, though. Everything. I mean, it's a stressful night when you face a guy like Greinke as a hitter because there are no easy takes.
134 career wins, 92 losses. Fastball away. And now Ian Desmond knows up by 5. He doesn't want to walk anybody. 1 on, 1 out, 6th inning.
Pitch number 100 coming. 64 strikes, 35 balls.
Right into the chest protector of C.B. Buckner.
That did not feel good. He was exposed. He's on the other side of Yasmani Grandal. Look at, he's just wide open right there.
Ooh, right at that below the right shoulder. Yasmani Grandal with his pitcher giving CB a minute here to gather himself.
It's a really big pitch coming in this ball game.
Desmond got a slider late for it. Yasiel Puig, 2 outs.
Catcher, Wilson Ramos.
With 2 down, up to Wilson Ramos. So 1 more out, and he's gone 23 for 23 in terms of going at least 6.
Well, he's up second in the bottom of 6.
Ramos has struck out and walked tonight. First start of this series. Lobaton took care of business with Gio Gonzalez last evening. Hits are even at 6, but the Dodgers lead 5-0. Target way out there. Tanner Roark, as the Nats are at their number 7 hitter in the lineup. Boy, you got to swing, don't you? Close enough.
I remember when he struck out Wilson his first time up, it was a 94-mile-an-hour fastball that had sink under his hands, and that's always in the back of your mind as a hitter, the pitch they got you with. Earlier in the game, Ramos seeing everything away in this sequence.
On the Mercedes-Benz pitch track, everything out there. Counts 2-2. There's that 89 fading down and in. So guys are grinding out some at bats here. Yankees just kept the Nats from getting anything more than 2 singles in any inning. Gonzalez moves behind Robinson. Clint about to get a head start here. Michael A. Taylor on deck. 3-2 pitch.
Well, up by 5, you don't think Greinke's going to get real tricky here in a 3-2 count. With the fastball right there to Ramos. 8th pitch coming. I think you start thinking about an ERA title this time of year. Just pitching to win. Your team's in first place. You're trying to keep them there.
Giants interleague up the coast, leading Houston 3-0 after 6. A 2.5 back of the Dodgers. And Wilson Ramos is going to be called out on a slider. 6 Ks for Greinke might be it for him. What a pitch to end the 6th inning. face. $37 times 2 to the Children's Inn at NIH. Thanks to the generosity of our Washington area. Toyota dealers with Toyota K's for kids. So Blake stays for another inning. Kike Hernandez, number 8 spot. Nobody on deck for the Dodgers yet. Hernandez faces Trinan first time. Looks like Alex Guerrero is leaving the Dodger dugout.
Yeah, Blake due up second next inning, so this will be it for him, trying to keep it a 5-0 game.
There's Guerrero, who started in left field last night and went 1 for 4. Crazy happenings in the American League tonight. The Yankees in 16 innings lost a ball game 5-4 at Cleveland. Toronto has won its 9th in a row, and the Blue Jays are a half game out of first place. 16 innings.
Canada's going nuts, eh?
You betcha. 3-2 now. And trying in with a high fastball, hit the other way.
Saw something today. The last time the Blue Jays went to the playoffs, Nolan Ryan was still pitching. It was 93.
Last time they saw a pitch in the playoffs, it left the ballpark. Joe Carter.
That was a fairly large home run.
This is a funny story Luis Gonzalez told me the other day when the Diamondbacks were in. You know, Gonzalez had the little flare that won this World Series for the Diamondbacks. He ran into Joe Carter. Carter took a selfie of the two of them and tweeted out a bloop and a blast.
Wow.
And Luis said, hey, what can I say? It was a bloop. And that's inside, and the Nats have walked their 5th batter of the night.
Bloop and a blast for a ring.
Yeah, we'll take it.
They both count the same.
Now they've called Guerrero back. We'll bring you up to date on the pinch hitter in a moment.
Renew now. 2016 season plans. If you renew by August 31st, you can secure extra postseason tickets. Go to nationals.com/renew or call 202-675-NATS.
Well, the last time Carl Crawford pinch hit, it was loud. 3-run towering homer off Doug Fister last night. The only Dodger runs in that 8-3 game. Crawford 2 for 4 career against Blake Trinan. (109 pitches, 71 strikes in 6 innings for Zach Greinke.
Tough lineup to crack. You come up last night, you hit a 3-run tater off the bench, and what did that get you the next day? El Bencho.
Out to short. Backhand stop. Ian Desmond. Rendon turns it anyway, and it'll be a 6-4.
Pretty good change of runners.
Dodgers box score. Zach Greinke still on the box score for the moment. He went 0 for 2, but he did everything else. And the big blows, obviously. Puig, 3-run triple in the 5th after the 2-run homer in the 4th inning. So they only managed 6 hits on Joe Ross. But because of the play that was not able to be made in right field, he gets charged with 5 earned runs. And that'll break his streak of 3 earned runs or fewer in every start.
Just really didn't have a whole lot of wiggle room going up against Greinke tonight.
Throw right into the runner's leg, close. Line drive, Double play with a good throw, and Desmond right on target to Zimmerman. So Carl Crawford picked off first on a 6-3 line drive. To the 7th, the Nats are into the Dodger bullpen. Long way to make it up, but 3 innings to go. Presented by authority of the Washington Nationals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the expressed written consent of the Washington Nationals. Dodger Stadium, where the Nationals all-time are 9-21, and that includes a win here last night. Yimi Garcia added to their bullpen today.
A two-seam fastball 93, slider 83. Occasional changeup at 86. ERA right at 4, and Tyler Moore on deck.
He'll hit for Trinan, who went an inning and a third.
Garcia has something on his wrist that he had to take off and put in his back pocket. Maybe that was his lucky bracelet. Now what does he do?
Yeah, maybe he was counting steps to the mound with his Fitbit, and now it's a foul by Taylor straight back.
Well, that's something you don't want to wear as a pitcher, because that means you're backing up a lot of bases.
Yeah.
I ran 3 miles today and only went an inning and a third. Gave up 12.
And Michael A. Taylor gets under a breaking ball. Jimmy Rollins. And for the Dodgers, the countdown for outs is down to 8. Felipe Rivera warming to take over. Matt Thornton chatting with Matty LeCroy. And now Tyler Moore.
What's the limit on Dodger dogs? How many do you think is safe?
I've never gone beyond 2 in one night.
I think 2 is the limit.
Well, that's 2/3 of a yard of hot dogs.
Yeah. It's like a first down of hot dogs if you go over that.
And if you're wearing a Fitbit, it would be shocking your left wrist into submission. Tyler Moore facing Yimi Garcia for the first time.
I mean, are you trying to get a free Fitbit out of somebody? Is that what
No.
it's about?
No, I believe me, I've spent plenty on those for other members of the family.
You want to count how many steps you're taking from here to where the Dodger dogs are?
It's 37, but who's counting? How to play from Tyler with one out here in the 7th.
Dodger dogs.
There they are.
They're $27 a piece.
And I would pay that.
You would.
Target away. And Tyler Moore will pop this one up to the right side. This is Kike Hernandez. 2 down here in the 7th.
Do they have peanut dogs at the
Should.
Fitz for great baseball and affordable family fun? Tons of August highlights. For all your ticket promotional information, visit PotomacNationals.com.
P-Dogs, I think that's a great name for a menu item.
All right.
Top of the order, Yunel Escobar and Clint Robinson are the 2 for 3 guys. They have 4 of the Nats' 6 hits. Pretty impressive. Facing Zach Greinke on a night when maybe he didn't have his best stuff. 2 hits off Greinke. You can take that to the bank anytime, and that's a breaking ball for a strike. So Escobar in the series is 4 for 7 with a base on balls. He's retaken the team hit lead from Bryce Harper at 121. Bryce has 120. And that breaking ball outside, 1-1.
Pretty good slider right there.
How many sliders have the Nats seen tonight? So Greinke threw 109 pitches. This guy a dozen or so.
Well, when you have one left-hander in your lineup, you're going to see sliders.
Yeah.
Escobar, Rendon, Zimmerman, Worth, Desmond, Ramos, Taylor, all right-handed. A very right-handed heavy lineup, which is susceptible to a good slider.
Yeah, that's why we were thinking it was so important for the Nats to get Denard Span back at some point with Bryce, a lefty, and whether Clint Robinson's in there or not, or Danny Espinosa, any of the switch hitters. Nats a very right-handed team without Denard.
Well, the Blue Jays are too, and they just won 9 in a row. So,
Whew.
I mean, ideally, you'd like to go right, left, and make it tough for the opposing manager to match up late in the game with your ball club. But if you can hit like the Blue Jays, you can hit.
Yeah.
And hopefully this offense for the Nationals clicks.
Yeah, they could be in first place tomorrow night. Yankees have lost 4 straight. The Blue Jays just won their 9th in a row. No.
Still shaking his head.
But if you ask me if he should take another one like that, I might say no.
No.
Escobar will pop one up. Short right center. Yasiel Puig coming in, and the Nationals go in order in the top of the 7th inning. It's our Hyundai 7th inning stretch. The 110 going right through downtown LA, a little bit north of there, Dodger Stadium. It's all home team right now.
Mercedes-Benz of Arlington, Mercedes-Benz of Alexandria. 5-0 Dyers, and Zach Greinke was awesome tonight. But Yasiel Puig with the big blow to draw first blood for the Dodgers, a 2-run home run, and then the nail in the coffin, or at least for the time being, I should say, to make it 5-0. The loop triple, if you will, to right field, clear the bases.
That was a killer. 2 innings left, though, and Felipe Rivero now has to keep this thing at 5-0. He'll face Callaspo, Gonzalez, and Ethier. Switch hitter, and then 2 lefties.
At 23rd appearance, ERA at 2.84. 25 strikeouts to 4 walks, and opponents hitting 255. Lefties just 186.
Callaspo tonight, base hit to left, base hit to right. And those were batting right-handed against Joe Ross. Pardon me, left-handed. What am I thinking? Right-handed now. Big breaking ball almost got the hitter in the back foot.
He's not liking the mound. I'm watching him look at his cleats. He cleaned out his cleats. Just looked at him after that pitch. I don't know if the clay's getting caught in there and he doesn't like the grip he's getting. So he's trying to get a toe hold. Doesn't look like it's caking up, and no other pitchers have had trouble out there tonight.
Broken bat, fly ball, Jason Worth. So it's a scoreless inning in 2/3 so far for the Nats bullpen. Adrian Gonzalez and Andre Ethier now the next 2. Gonzalez 1 for 1 against Felipe in D.C.
Very effective when he throws strike 1 with the fastball, and then he throw that big slider where he starts it behind left-handers and brings it back. They're going to, looks like they might throw fastball away. Yep.
Yeah, stayed inside. That's beautiful. One side of the plate to the other.
Yeah, beautiful unless you're Adrian Gonzalez. That's just dirty. I've hoped for one more of those.
Tried to go with the heat. The 97 misses away.
I'll tell you what, the more you get to know Felipe Rivero, he's always in a good mood, bouncing around, having fun, smile on his face all the time. He's fun to be around. All right, Nats fans, if you're up right now, you're awesome. Never miss a game update, behind the scenes moment, or exclusive contest. Follow at NASN Nationals on Twitter for all the latest buzz. Again, that's at NASN Nationals on Twitter. Two with 1 out. Fastball up.
Adrian Gonzalez a bit overmatched by the rookie fireballer right there.
That was I'm sitting on the slider. I got a fastball swing by Gonzalez. He was definitely thinking about it, looking at it.
Number 60, Andre Ethier.
Next up, Andre Ethier 0 for 1 against Rivero. Now, does the comment you made about him a moment ago indicate that he might have been in your car today?
Nope.
Okay. Because you never told us about the other guy.
Are you jealous that I'm taking other people?
I don't have a car. I don't care.
Yeah, but we always ride together, and I think you're jealous. I'm not telling you who I took.
I have the family here. We're riding together.
That's right.
Well, that one's screaming right by the Dodger dugout. Everybody okay over there, we think. So we're gonna have to settle for a maybe he did, maybe he didn't.
I'm a professional Uber driver, Bob. I don't tell them who my clients are.
Except when they pitch a brilliant game.
And then say that Gio is a horrible tipper. No tip last night from that guy. 8 shutout innings, around the ballpark.
You should have tipped him for what he did.
Nothing. He didn't even give me 5 stars.
No, that's not good. Rivero paints. Dodgers gone, bottom of the 7th. Strong inning for Felipe against some pretty good major league hitters. Rendon, Zimmerman, Robinson coming up. Tying his career high with 5 RBIs, Yasiel Puig has driven them all in tonight. 5-6-0 Dodgers, 0-6-0 Nats. Honda up top of the 8th inning, 2-3-4. Rendon against the West. All these guys really, the first 2, part of the Nats' success. 37-17 against the West since the start of last year. Clint Robinson, the newcomer, but he's done quite well himself. Another inning for Yimi Garcia, the right-hander. Anthony Rendon, 3 balls in the air tonight, 0 for 3, but 2 line drives. One to right, and then last time up, a screamer to third. Fastball, 95 in there. From the 24-year-old Yimi Garcia, 8 games for the Dodgers last year. Added to their bullpen today.
I mean, if you're Don Mattingly, your bullpen scuffling, wouldn't you toy with the we're going to call up some guys from Double-A that throw really hard and see what they do thing?
Yeah.
Or at least think about it. If you're giving guys ample opportunity, they're not getting the job done. You have one of the better 1-2 punches in baseball, if not the best 1-2 punch in baseball. And your leads haven't been protected. Just some stud starter in Double-A and make him an 8th inning guy and have a little energy. I mean, in my opinion, I could be totally off on this. If you can pitch at any level and you can throw strikes, you can pitch at this level. If you have a 95, 98 mile an hour fastball and you can command it, whether you're in A-ball, Double-A, Triple-A, you can get outs at the major league level with that. I think you can rush hitters.
Rendon rips one in the left.
I don't think you can rush pitchers because an out's an out's an out if you can throw strikes and your stuff plays.
Well, Anthony Rendon, 3 good swings tonight, finally gets rewarded. And the Nats have their 7th hit of the night. Washington, D.C. Lexus dealers donate $250 to the Children's National Health System every time a Nat hits a homer. It's happened 112 times this year. Lexus, the pursuit of perfection.
The second best comeback of the year started with a leadoff single by Anthony Rendon.
Well, you saw J.P. Hall warming up. The Nats knocked him around a little bit last night. 3 hits, a run in his inning of work. He and Desmond homered off him. Ryan Zimmerman 1 for 3. Slider away.
Pretty good pitch.
Speaking of Double-A for the Dodgers, they kind of did an interesting thing during the offseason. They moved their Triple-A further away than it's ever been before, buying the team in Oklahoma City and then replacing the Rockies in Tulsa. So they're Double-A, Triple-A, long way from home, but the 2 cities are close together. Over the last couple of years, some of the big league teams have started buying some of their minor league affiliates and actually owning and operating them.
Well, it seems like the Dodgers buy everything.
They might have bought the entire city, I'm not sure. But I do know over the years, FP, coming out of Albuquerque, sometimes kind of like the Rockies in Colorado Springs, some of your power numbers get skewed a little bit because the ball flies up there.
Right.
And they'll get a more true reading out on the plains than up in the highlands. Might help some of their young pitchers too. Fastball up and in. Ryan Zimmerman gone. First strikeout for Garcia. 1 out here in the 8th. Here's Clint Robinson. Clint's had a good night, 2 for 3. Base hit to left and a shot up the middle last time. This guy's got some gas with movement. 94 up and away.
Tough to lay off the high one based on his 3-quarter delivery. Looks like it's going to be low and has that late jump and a little bit of rise to it, or at least it seems that way.
Bryce Harper scratched hour and a half or so before the ball game tonight with irritation in his left knee. On the turf a couple of times, making plays in right field last night. And as FP noted, it goes back to his slide at Nationals Park over the weekend when he made a great play on a foul ball. Fastball up. Could have used his bat, his legs, and his glove if healthy. against Zach Greinke tonight. Robinson drives one to left. It'll move Andre Ethier over to his right, and that's 2 down.
I was just hoping he'd face Zach Greinke, because after the last time he faced him in the clubhouse,
The fielder, number 28, Jason Worth.
with the beat writers, he said, I mean, paraphrasing, he wasn't that impressed with his stuff, and that he was getting help from, I forget who the home plate umpire was, all day long. I wanted to see the rematch. Didn't happen. Hope he's in there tomorrow against Clayton Kershaw.
Jason Worth 0 for 3. Couple of ground balls, a foul out to first last time. Facing Yimi Garcia for the first time.
Bill Miller was the home plate umpire that night.
And that ball game was 5-0 as the Dodgers won that series. Nationals able to complete the suspended game 5-3. Then on Saturday, Dodgers 4-2, 5-0 on Sunday. Two-one pitch. Worth fastball 95, couldn't get it.
Tried to jump on that one, and the driver out, couldn't catch up.
Fastball running back. Juan Nicasio.
Or is that Dusty Baker?
Worth gets under a fastball. Nats have stranded 8 tonight. Jock Peterson puts that one away. And we're going to the bottom of the 8th. All Dodgers 5-0. Tonight, Jordan Zimmerman, 8 and 7, 6 2/3 with a 1 earned run against the Rockies last time out. The Nats will be facing one of the greats, Clayton Kershaw, 9-6, 2.51 ERA. He is 8-2 career against Washington with a 2.31 ERA. 9:30, Johnny and Ray. Nats Extra will join you 10 o'clock straight up. First pitch around 10:10.
Well, I'm seeing that he's lost 6 times. And then his ERA is 2.5, which Jordan Zimmerman, you feel like he's going to be on top of his game, and we'll see. Kershaw's a guy you got to get early too. Once he settles in, look out. 31st appearance for Tanner Roark, ERA 4.54, excuse me.
One pitch, one fly ball. Yasmani Grandal, Jason Worth, right in front of the track, two-handed catch, 1 out, 8th inning. Bullpen continues to pitch well tonight. 2 2/3 so far. Trinan, Rivero, and now Roark. There's Yasiel Puig. Former Brave Luis Avilan warming for the Dodgers. Roark, nasty sinker at the knees. Yasiel Puig, 1-for-1 career against him.
Well, Puig's been the story tonight offensively for the Dodgers. Got him on the board with a 2-run home run, just his 9th home run of the year. That was in the 4th inning, and a 2-out triple. Cleared the bases in the 5th. So in 2 innings, Puig with 5 RBI tonight. 2 back-to-back innings, 5 RBI.
Fastball away, a good one.
It goes against everything you're taught as a pitcher, but with the bases loaded and a guy like Puig up, a guy that wants to be the hero, you don't have to throw him strikes. You just have to throw him good 0-2 pitches that look like strikes and bounce out of the zone.
Puig trying to drop a bloop into right, but Rendon's going to run it down. Good jump by Anthony, 2 outs.
And the pitch on the triple by Joe Ross wasn't a bad pitch. He got in there, he got fisted a little bit, and just kind of blooped it into right field and cleared the bases.
Jock Peterson 0 for 2 with a base on balls.
Is Puig holding his side in the Dodger dugout? Did I see that right when he was walking in?
Check it out. Tanner's got a lively fastball going tonight. (3-1). It ran back but didn't enough to catch the corner. Jock Peterson on for the second time. The Nats have issued an uncharacteristic 6 walks tonight.
And Joe Ross walked 4 Dodgers tonight, and that's all he had walked all year.
Yeah, one of those walks figured in the scoring. A couple of others extended some innings for him. Tanner thought he threw a pretty good slider right there to Kike Hernandez. Ball 1. That's still the stingiest in all of baseball issuing walks. Kike Hernandez 0 for 2 with a base on balls. And 0 for 1 against Tanner Roark with a strikeout back in D.C. Good fastball back to the corner. BCFP DK in the AM. Very late for the Nats. 3 outs to go as Tanner Roark tries to keep the Dodgers up by 5. Sounded like a busted bat, and Tanner Roark a good inning. The bullpen goes 3 1/3 scoreless tonight without giving up a hit. Ian Desmond, couple of homers last night, 1 for 3 tonight. The Nats need a big ninth. Land Rover conquering LA's freeways above and beyond.
Traffic in LA. Shocking.
We're going to the top of the 9th inning here at Dodger Stadium. And Luis Avila, a familiar opponent. Longtime Atlanta Brave. He'll face Desmond, Ramos, and Michael A. Taylor.
Pretty good changeup. It's his best secondary pitch at 82. He'll flip a curveball in there every once in a while, but the fastball averages 94 for the Dodgers left-hander. And put on your rally PJs and let's see what happens.
In Desmond, 1 for 3, and against Avila career 0 for 5 with a base on balls. .93 in there. Ian having a good series, 4 for 7. Change up, diving away at 80. Ian Desmond pulls this off-speed pitch. Alberto Callaspo throws him out.
Catcher number 40.
Jordan Zimmerman Clayton Kershaw. Same time tomorrow night. Nats will be going for a series win if they can't pull this one out. First pitch 10:10 Eastern. Join us at 10 o'clock straight up. We always have interesting things to talk about when we sign on straight up at the top of the hour. You don't know what you're missing.
That's right.
If you just tune in for first pitch.
You'll see me talk really fast and stutter a lot. Don't miss it.
You talk about late night entertainment. Ramos, well hit. Kike Hernandez, 2 outs. Well, Zach Greinke is about to be 12-2. Johnny Holiday and Ray Knight working into the wee hours for you. Coming up next with Nats Extra. Michael A. Taylor, first career at bat against Luis Avila.
It's a good matchup for Michael. He swung the bat decent tonight. Just missed one last time. Popped up to short. Lined out to third his first time up.
A lot of change-ups here. 80 floats up and away. 2 balls, no strikes. If the inning continues, Danny Espinosa on deck.
Could be an SB sighting tomorrow in that lineup against Clayton Kershaw.
Home run swing by Michael A., who has hit 10. Couldn't get to it. Big crowd tonight again for the Dodgers. 49,384. Entertained by Puig in the pitching of Greinke. And a 2-1 evens the count. Nats down to their final strike.
I just think when you're facing the Dodgers, there's 2 guys that can't beat you, and they're both on the right side. It's Yasiel Puig and Adrian Gonzalez. You know, careful with those guys and make everybody else beat you.
That is foul. Call made at the last second by Dale Scott, the crew chief over there.
Okay, so that ball chopped in front of the plate, hit in the dirt at third, was thrown across the infield in the dirt, and Gonzalez picked it, and they're using the same ball.
Yeah, and if a pitcher throws one in that barely nicks the dirt into the catcher's mitt, nobody can wait to throw the ball out.
Shocked that they didn't check that ball. They're still using it.
That's the ball game. Dodgers take care of business tonight. In 2 hours and 58 minutes, they draw even in the series as they shut out the Nats. A weird night. Washington out-hit LA and lost by 5 runs.